Have you ever wondered what it's like to stumble upon a secret so big it could bring down an entire empire? Today, we're diving into the incredible true story of an ordinary person who did just that. This isn't a Hollywood blockbuster. This is the real-life tale of how one sharp-eyed accountant, armed with little more than a calculator and a gut feeling, uncovered a staggering $1.2 billion fraud. Imagine this. You're sitting at your desk, just like any other Tuesday. The coffee is brewing, spreadsheets are open, and you're crunching numbers. It's routine, maybe even a little boring. But then, you spot it. A tiny discrepancy. Something so small, most people would brush it aside. An invoice that doesn't quite match, a transfer with a vague description. It's a loose thread. Do you pull it, or do you let it go and finish your day? Our protagonist, let's call her Sarah, decided to pull. And that single decision would unravel one of the most audacious financial schemes of the century. Sarah wasn't a superhero. She was a diligent, methodical accountant working for a seemingly successful, high-flying corporation. The company was the darling of Wall Street, with a charismatic CEO and stock prices that just kept climbing. Everything on the surface screamed success. But beneath that glossy exterior, something was wrong. Sarah's initial curiosity led her down a rabbit hole. She started digging after hours, poring over old financial statements, cross-referencing documents, and tracing transactions that seemed to lead nowhere. It was like putting together a giant complex puzzle with half the pieces missing. The more she looked, the more anomalies she found. There were shell corporations set up in obscure locations, mysterious consulting fees paid to companies that didn't seem to exist, and assets that were wildly overvalued. It was a sophisticated web of deceit, designed to fool even the most seasoned auditors. But Sarah had an advantage. She was an insider. She knew the systems, she knew the people, and most importantly, she knew what normal looked like. And this was anything but normal. The pressure began to mount. She was working in secret, terrified of being discovered. Who could she trust? Her boss, the CFO, the CEO himself? They were all part of this prestigious company, celebrating its success. Accusing them would be career suicide, and worse, it could be dangerous. People don't just let a billion-dollar secret walk out the door. She started noticing strange things. Her computer acting up, files being moved, the feeling of being watched. The paranoia was real because the stakes were astronomical. This wasn't just about numbers on a page anymore. It was about thousands of employees whose jobs were on the line. It was about investors, regular people, who had poured their life savings into the company's stock, believing in a lie. The weight of this knowledge was immense. Every day she went to work, she had to put on a brave face, acting as if everything was fine while knowing the entire company was a house of cards, ready to collapse at any moment. After weeks of sleepless nights and painstaking investigation, Sarah had compiled a mountain of evidence. She had spreadsheets, bank records, and internal emails that painted a damning picture of systemic fraud. The numbers were mind-boggling. It wasn't just a few $1 million skimmed off the top. It was a carefully orchestrated scheme totaling over $1.2 billion. The company had essentially been inventing profits out of thin air to inflate its stock price. Now came the most dangerous part, blowing the whistle. Who do you go to with a bomb this big? She couldn't go to her superiors, they were likely involved. She couldn't go to the company's internal auditors, they had clearly missed it or were complicit. She had to go outside. With her heart pounding, she made an anonymous call to the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. What happened next was a whirlwind. Federal investigators descended on the company. The charismatic CEO was led away in handcuffs. The stock plummeted, and the company that was once a symbol of success became a symbol of corporate greed and corruption. The fallout was massive. The company filed for bankruptcy. Thousands of people lost their jobs, and investors lost everything. It was a painful, messy process, but through it all, one thing was clear. Sarah's courage had brought the truth to light. She wasn't seeking fame or fortune. She was simply doing her job with integrity. Her story is a powerful reminder that one person, guided by their conscience, can make a monumental difference. It shows that integrity isn't about the grand gestures, but about the small choices we make every day, the choice to question, to dig deeper, and to speak up, even when it's the hardest thing to do. This incredible story is a testament to the quiet heroes who work behind the scenes. The ones who don't seek the spotlight, but whose diligence and bravery uphold the very fabric of our society. It forces us to ask ourselves, what would we do if we found that loose thread? Would we have the courage to pull it? Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. See you in the next video.